Move on here and talk to Doug about some of this. The president doesn't seem to be a big fan of the millionaires tax. Doug Flynn Zito joining us right now. We had it on the show last night. He was like, oh, this millionaires tax, if you raise taxes on the wealthy, people making over $1 million, it would be disruptive. I would argue that maybe the trade war is a bit disruptive in its own right.
A little bit.
So what do you make of that, though? Because let me see here. Tablet-wise, there's this thing from the Tax Policy Center. They look at like that the top 1% of the folks, over here were doing a little bit better, they figure, on the last tax cuts. But it doesn't seem like Trump's going to go with some people who were thinking about letting them, taxes go up on the wealthy. What would you say about it?
I think the problem with a lot of this is that the wealthy especially can do things to mitigate their taxes. They can delay capital gains. They can do a lot of different things. So a lot of times when you say, hey, straight line, I'll just raise taxes on the Millionaire Club by 2 or 3%, and we'll get all this extra revenue. Whenever you do the actual math after, you don't, because they do other things like shelter it. So the same thing happens the other way. When you cut taxes, you think, oh, I'm going to have a decrease in revenue. And oftentimes it actually goes the other way because money's moving and things are happening. So I don't know which way it's going to go, but I don't ever trust when they say they're going to raise taxes, it's going to absolutely raise revenue. That doesn't always happen.
Okay, so stock market today, Marcus went through some of the stuff that's going on, but it's one of those, it happens to be bouncing. I don't read too much in now. Who knows, day to day. What I will say, what's interesting, see the Dow's up like 500 points. Some of these, like we half joking, but it's serious. We played like the Kleenex thing right before the break. Some of these consumer-related companies, right, and I have some others on the tablet here that I'll show you, are starting to tell us that things might not be great. So Pepsi, Chipotle, P&G on the list of consumer-related companies that are cutting forecasts. What would you say about that, given all the trade talk?
Yeah, this is their opportunity to use these things as an excuse to lower expectations. And a lot of what happens with the market and the stocks in the market is whether they beat expectations. So if you have an opportunity to use an excuse to cut your expectations, then lo and behold, a couple of quarters from now, when they magically come in ahead of expectations, then the stock rises, and that's what everybody really wants. So I think perhaps some of this is absolutely real. If it all comes to pass, costs will increase. Whether or not they'll transfer it all down to the people, I don't know.
That's interesting. So you think it's more like the old Jack Welch at GE, I'm going to beat by a penny every quarter? Amazing how they were able to do that back at,
amazing.
But you think it's more that? It's more the Wall Street game, not real fear that, we could be heading into something rough?
You know why I do? I think, do you remember years ago when everybody had these fuel surcharges, when the fuel costs went out of control, and then the fuel prices went way down? How quickly did they remove those fuel surcharges, by the way? I think they were around for years. And so you're going to start seeing tariff surcharges, and they'll be sticking around long before, or actually much higher percentages than the actual tariff really is, especially when you talk about the tariffs are on the actual cost of the good, not the full retail price of the good. Everybody's acting like you're going to get 100% on top of the retail price. That's not how it works. But, I think certainly some of this is real, but it's a good excuse to kind of, while you're doing it, let's just add it in there. It sets us up well for later on.
Well, I like that. It's good perspective anyway on things, not get too crazy about everything.
Hey, Connell, one other thing. Here we go. I got my hat out today.
What's the hat? I got to put my glasses on. Is that 40? Or not is that the same one? The 40?
That's the same one. I broke it back out today. We're right around 40.
Doug sent us that's not the same on the other side of it. It's really not. You got to wear it backwards or something. You know what I mean? Because it's not the same when it's doing what it is. So, all right.
You can wear it multiple times. You can wear it.
I actually have it in my office. Maybe I'll wear it on the way home today. The Doug Flynn hat. Thank you, Doug. We appreciate it. Let me go down the stock exchange.